Hi, I'd like to just take a few minutes of your time and let's discuss insulation a little bit for your homes. This will save tremendous energy and heating and cooling costs for you as well. At State Building, what we offer is what's called the cellulose product. Energy control cellulose is basically ground up newspaper with some fire retardants and rodent retardants in it to keep the critters out of your attic spaces. This is nothing but 100% recycled fibers. There's no man-made products. It's very good and very kind to our environment, giving us about an R 3.8 per inch. When it comes to walls of your home, we drill holes on the exterior by removing and replacing siding. That way you can't tell nobody's been in there. If you have, say, an R11 fiberglass bat, which is in a typical house that's 20, 30, or 40 or 50 years old, we'll remove the aluminum or the vinyl siding, drill a 2-inch hole, get beyond the fiberglass and run a 1-inch tube between your drywall plaster up the wall cavity, turning on the nozzle. This will actually take that 3-inch fiberglass and compress it to a 1/2 of an inch, allowing us to get like an R11 or 12 of cellulose in the sidewall cavities. Once that is packed in place, R values are very important. Another key factor for heating and cooling your home is density. Once this product is packed into your walls, it is very solid and very dense. Density stops air infiltration from passing through materials. Where fiberglass bat in the wintertime can actually lose 20 to 40% of its R values simply because fiberglass bat does not get packed or dense. With it being loose, air can actually pass through this material, which in turn, when it's cold, will lower R values. So fiberglass bat stays loose, air passes through it, and as air passes through it, the R values are cut in half. If we're able to pack in our cellulose, it becomes very dense, stopping air from passing through that cavity, which will actually increase R values. Moving on to attic spaces, a typical home, 20, 30, or 40, 50 years old, you will find an R11 or R19 fiberglass bat in your attic space. Consumers Power Energy in this area is recommending an R49. Typically, we can put in 10 inches of cellulose, which will give you an R38. This, in turn, along with your R11 or R19, will get you close to the R50 or over. That's what you want. When we blow your attics, it's done differently than the sidewalls. Remember, the sidewalls, we're going through a 1-inch tube, which is about 70% air and 30% material, so we can pack it. In the attic, we're going to use a large 3 or 4-inch hose, and we're going to have a lot of material, say 70% material and 30% air. At State Building Company, if we sell you an R38, that's 10 inches. But since we use such a large hose to blow this in with lots of material, it's actually going to settle over 6 months to a year. So we're actually going to give you 12 to 13 inches the day of installation. In a year, that 12 or 13 inches is going to become 10 inches. Keep in mind, density. Once we blow you 12 or 13 inches, in a year it becomes 10. Now we have created density. Now we're able to keep that heat in your house longer without passing through it. Once again, that R19 that's in your attic when it was built, and it's 0 outside and 70 in your house, and that heat is actually passing through that material rapidly because it does not become dense. So that R19 becomes an R10 or 11 when it's 0 degrees out. In our literature that we have from Energy Control, we can actually show you where the Colorado study was done and show you exactly how all this works. But R value is important, but also density is just as important. With all that said, and we talked about R values, the typical house 20, 30, 40, even 50 years ago, typical house has an R11 fiberglass bat in the walls and at best an R19 in the ceiling. If you have, say, a typical ranch style house with that insulation value in it, and you let us come in and blow an R38 in your attic along with proper intake ventilation and exhaust ventilation, which is also important, and pack them walls full of the cellulose, making it a very dense home, we can easily save you 30 to 40% on your heating cost. So with the heat loss studies that we have done on a basic 26 by 40 style ranch that has the R11 and the R19 in the ceiling, and you do want to hire us to do your complete project as a complete installation along with ventilation, the average payback on the product done and paying us to give you a very energy efficient home is less than a 3-year payoff. So in less than 3 years, you're going to be seeing a savings of your investment for the installation of your home. 3 years after that, you can do whatever you want with the extra money you have. And even with the energy costs still rising, and the average cost analyst that we did was 2 years ago, it may even be a couple years that you have your investment back, and then you can start saving money and putting it in your pocket sooner. We know that the energy costs are not going to be going down at all, so now is a good time to get it going and saving your money instantly.